Alright, what's going on at YouTube? Welcome back to your favorite cyclist YouTube channel. This week we're reviewing a 4-bike hanging rack. But before we get into today's video, if you're new to my channel, make sure you head down below, hit that subscribe button for me. If you already are subscribed, make sure you hit that bell icon right next to that. That way you get notified every time I upload. That way you don't miss any of this awesome cycling content on this channel. So like I said, today we're reviewing a 4-bike hanging rack. And it's been quite a while since I've reviewed any hanging racks. Done a few of them, but let alone a 4-bike. I don't think I've ever done a 4-bike hanging rack. They've been 2 bikes. So, this is from my friends over at JOYTUTUS. If you saw, I recently did a review on a little 2-bike tray rack from them. It was kind of a different design. And this guy definitely fits that bill too. Different design than I've seen before. So, most of the time on these bike reviews, I have the rack installed already. And that's pretty normal because it's normally a hitch pin or a bolt. You know, the anti-rattle mechanism. Yeah, something along those lines. Something pretty simple. This guy uses something a little different. And we're going to bring you down here, get this thing installed. We're going to test this guy out. See how well this thing works, holding bikes on here. And of course, let you guys know whether this rack here is worth your money. So let's get you guys a little closer. Let's get this guy installed on the hitch on the Bronco. Okay, so down here at the hitch, so we are using a hitch extender today. We have the spare tire right up here. Spare tire gets in the way of a lot of these racks. We have the hitch extender sticking out probably another 10 inches or so. So, we got that guy here. It also lets you guys see what's going on with this rack a lot better. So, if you take a look at this rack here, you'll notice there is not a hole right there. There's a hole, but there's a pin in there. And essentially what this rack does is as you turn this red knob on the end here, it's going to push those pins out as well as push this guy out right here, which is a anti-rattle mechanism, and it's going to pretty much lock itself into your hitch. And then once you have it in, it actually has a keyhole on here to lock it into your hitch. It's kind of cool. Different design. Can't say I've ever used one with that, so let's try to see how this thing works. So, got that guy retracted. This guy's shoved in here. There it goes. All right. So once we got that kind of pole, that little, I'm going to call it a little hitch pin, internal hitch pin lined up, we just go ahead and we just tighten up this knob here. And we should be able to tighten this guy up until it gets tight, because it's also tightening that anti-rattle mechanism in there. So we're just going to kind of go so it's nice and tight. There we go. And that, wow, that's actually really good. That holds that nice and sturdy. Okay. Once we have that there, we just get our key. Come right down to our lock cylinder, and we can just turn that around. And pretty much what that, well, the key will come out. There it goes. And what that does essentially is just disconnect this from the whatever mechanism is holding these in. So just disconnects that so you can spin this all you want. Nothing's going to happen. So kind of cool design there. And I can say this is not moving. It's just up here that's moving. Okay, well, we got that in there. You got a couple things you can do here. So first off, we need to get these bars up on top out. There's a little lever back behind here. You pull down on that lever. That releases that mechanism. You lift up and that locks it into place. Pretty easy, right? Locks right into place. The other thing you can do is this knob right here. And some of you are like, what does that knob do? This knob, if you twist it, actually pulls these little latches up. And that lets you tip this forward so you have access to the back of your vehicle. Kind of nice. I like it's all kind of built into the rack. Little simple twist knobs, everything you can move, pull, adjust, it's all red, so you know where those spots are. Kind of nice how they have that all positioned there, and then once you flip it back up, it just locks it right into place. Pretty cool, pretty nice. Looking at this guy, it's definitely one of the things with hanging racks. Well, there's a couple things with hanging racks. One of the things with hanging racks that gets in the way is they don't work necessarily with every type of bike. So we're going to try and get as many bikes as we can on this rack. Generally, you want to start with the heaviest on the inside. So all my bikes are about the same. I'll throw a mountain bike on the inside here and try and get this thing loaded up. Again, I don't know how many we're going to get on this rack, but we're going to try. We're going to see how much you can get on here. So if we go up right up to this top here. So right up here, you can kind of see how they work. So we can kind of flip these out of the way for a second. And you can see pretty much has a little ratchet guy here. So you push this in, ratchet pops out. Push that in, ratchet pops out. Then once you have a bike in here, you just push them in and just ratchets down around the top tube. Pretty simple. Nothing too crazy about these racks. So we're going to angle all these towards the inside. That way when we put our bike over, hopefully it just slides right on through. And we're going to start again. We're going to start with the mountain bike. We're going to put the tire on the driver's side where the front tire is going to go. It's generally how these things get positioned. It works most of the time the best. So grab our mountain bike here. All right. Get our pedals kind of level. And we should be able to lift this guy up. And slide it all the way in. There we are. And these guys should be able to kind of position them so they're all around it. Just like that. I would like my tire on this side, preferably. Pretty good, pretty good. All right. Feed our straps down through. There's that one. Let's try and get our back one fed through too. Okay. And there's one bike attached. So with the hanging rack, there's a couple things that are different with them. So some hanging racks are going to have kind of another attachment down here that attaches generally to the seat tube. And that kind of holds the bike from rocking, right? That's what that pretty much would do. In this case, this just has the top tube strap. So it's not as secure against rocking. So you kind of got to watch out because if your tires turn the right way, it will rock into the main post of this rack. So something to be aware of with these hanging racks here. Man, there's not much room here. I am going to do, I don't know if we're going to put 4 bikes on here. So we're going to put one of the problem bikes on this hanging rack here. So honestly, these hanging racks, they're made best for bikes that were made early 2000s, 90s, kind of like that. They have this kind of standard like square or triangle shape to them, which is a straight across top tube. Those are what fit this the best. Modern bikes, not so much. I'll just be honest. They just don't, because they end up at weird angles where your tire's lower than the rack, and they just end up kind of funky. So that's what I recommend these for. They do work. They do work. I used a hanging rack for years, bringing bikes to Sea Otter and all that, just because that's what I had and it worked with my setup. So one of the bikes that doesn't work very well is a step-through frame. So I'll get this guy up here. So with the step-through frame, pretty much, if you were to set this up normally, you wouldn't be able to get the frame, because the frame's way down here. And you guys can't even see it. There it is. You can see the frame's way down here, and the frame does this. It's not a straight across frame. It really doesn't work with these type of racks. It really doesn't. You can make them work by themselves, but it is the funkiest looking. It's like way up in the air. It's kind of funky. So you have to get one of these bars here that does like essentially a temporary top tube, straight across top tube between your stem and your seat post here. That's pretty much what you got to get for them. So you get that and you strap it on to that temporary top tube, just like this. And then kind of same way you would mount any other bike, you just push this right down through, and push that right down through, and there you go. You kind of have a temporary top tube holding a step-through bike on. So you can fit 4. I'm not going to try to, because I don't feel like I have the patience for that today. You have to really position them right. It's not as simple as some of the tray racks where you're just able to put them on in kind of whatever order, honestly, and it doesn't matter. You can just kind of put them on heaviest, close to the bike, close to the vehicle, lightest, farthest away. So you kind of run into that kind of deal. So yeah, it kind of gets tough. So I'll show you. So we'll take this guy off, take these straps off here. Let me get my daughter's bike. Try and throw my daughter's bike on here. So you got my daughter's bike, which is a kid's bike, little 20-inch. First off, the frame is kind of short. So while we can get that one on pretty decent, it doesn't reach for the front at all. And even if we can kind of get it on the front, it doesn't really, this actually doesn't fit at all on this rack. So you kind of see some of the issue there. It doesn't even come close to fitting on this rack, just with the size of it. And then if we got it on here, this rear wheel would smash into these handlebars, and it's a bit of a pain to do this with these style bikes. It's kind of the only downfall with these style racks, the hanging racks. They're made for that specific triangle shape. Like my Trek 3700. If you had Trek 3700s, 4 of them, they would fit perfectly on here. They'd fit great. But that's not what we have. So we're going to run 2 bikes and to see how it handles the 2 bikes. And we'll kind of go from there. So it's got a lot of, it has potential. You can make it work, like I said, with that specific one. One other cool feature with this is how they built-in cable lock to lock your bikes to the rack. So you may be looking like, where's the cable lock at? And it is this guy right here. This guy pulls out, and there is your cable lock. It's just that long, just that little guy. But this guy you can feed through your bike frames, right through there. And then your lock cylinder is just on the back side of this rack. So it should just, once that's in there, it's locked. It's going to hold it in. You can retract this some, you know, keep it looking a little neater. But there you go. You have your bikes locked to the rack, all incorporated in the rack. So it does have really cool features to it. Just depends on the type of bikes you have and what you're looking to do. One thing that's nice about this is it does, in general, get your bikes a little higher off the ground. It hangs them here. So the way I used it was with our pop-up trailer. We would put a double hitch on the Bronco. One hitch would be for the trailer. And the top upper one that's about 6 inches higher, we would then put a hanging rack. And I would position the bikes above the tongue of the trailer. And it would work pretty good. It lets you haul the bikes and haul the trailer together. We've since improved that into something new, but we used that for years. And it worked. It worked fine. So I think we just got to go test drive this thing. One of the issues is it rattles. So there's nothing really holding anything in place. So you need to use a strap or something like that. In general, what I use personally is I would use like a cam buckle strap and run the cam buckle strap through. Use a little piece of padding, like a microfiber or something between the frame and this post here. And I'll strap nice and tight against the post. They didn't include anything, so we're going to test it as it is. And these bikes just kind of swing. Swing, swing, swing. And we'll see how it handles it. See how it handles it, and we'll come back. We'll talk about this rack and what we think and what this rack is for. And who should use this type of hanging rack here. All right, so back from our drive. So taking these bikes off is as simple as it was putting them on. So first thing I gotta do is reach back here. Just gotta unlock our cable lock here. There you go. Put the key in, just to unlock, cable pops out. Simple as can be, right? We can go ahead and just feed this guy right back into this tube. There we go, and this guy just boop right on into the end. Nice and easy. And it can go nice and flush right there, like it doesn't even exist. Once it got locked done, it's as simple as just undoing our little ratchets here. Let's do the front one first. There we go. And we can do the back one. Get that guy on out of there. There we go. And then you just lift your bike right on off. And then same thing. We can just ratchet these back down just so they're kind of tucked and out of the way. There we go. Go ahead and undo our ratchets here. There we go. And then just grab our bike and lift it off. And there you go. Bikes are removed. Ready to go. For those curious, you are able to flip this lever and you can drop this with the bikes on there. It'll hold it no problem. I forgot to do it. So you can, no problem at all to do that. All right, so let's talk about the JOYTUTUS 4-bike hanging rack here. We're gonna make pros and cons here. So pros to this thing, I actually like the mechanism to both lock the hitch into the hitch receiver and then to also stabilize it down there to anti-rattle it. I actually like that mechanism. That works really well. You don't have to worry about a hitch pin. It's lockable from the front of the rack, which makes it really easy. You don't have to climb underneath your car to undo a lock. Just works. It makes it really nice. And honestly, down at the hitch point, it's really tight. It does not move. It does not move side to side down there. It is nice and secure. The integrated lock on here, just right on the end here, that's really nice too. It's nice to have an integrated lock with you at all times. Every vehicle I have that has a bike rack, I have to carry a lock in there just in case I want to lock my bikes up while they're, while I'm out and about and they're on the vehicle. I need to carry a separate lock versus this just has it integrated into here. And it looks really clean too. And then the other problem, it has mounts for 4 bikes on here. So if you have the right kind of bikes for a hanging rack, this could fit 4 of them. No problem at all. Really easy. And honestly, if you were to put 4 of them on here, throw a strap through them, it would hold them pretty secure. So cons on this guy, while the hitch tightener portion, like I said, works really well. For me, that negates the whole anti-rattle and the whole thing still rattles around, right? It needs to kind of continue up. I know from personal experience, these pivot points can be a little rattly. However, this one's a little excessive rattly, honestly. And it's to the point you could hear it. I mean, obviously, I don't have a window or a top right now, and so it's kind of wide open air. But it's got some noise. It's got some decent noise. I mean, it's clunks. Honestly, that's the part you hear the most. And that's not a great sound. Honestly, for me personally, I don't want sounds coming from my bike rack because it makes me feel like it's falling off or something's wrong with it. So if they could fix the pivot point and make it a little bit stiffer, it would be a lot better. I do have that bolt tightened all the way down as tight as I could get it, and it didn't make any difference on it. So I did attempt to fix that. It didn't do anything, sadly. Another con, I wish there was something to stabilize the bikes with. They have like these 3 fingers underneath these hangers, which is where one of those mounts, one of those brackets I was talking about, that would hang off the bottom of this, which would then let another bracket come down here underneath, and then it'd have a strap onto the frame or onto the seat tube of the bike, which would then keep the bike straight in a line versus allowing it to swing back and forth. I don't know why they have the fingers for it, but not the brackets to do that, because that makes a big difference. I've had a couple different racks, and I will say, those little things that mount on the seat post make a world of difference. They make it so you honestly don't have to strap them. They will stay in place. Even if they didn't include those, if they include like a cam buckle strap or maybe 2 of them just to strap the bike to the upright here, it would have been a little bit nice. That would have helped the bikes from swinging back and forth. So honestly, that kind of brings us to the end of the video where we need to talk about who or what this rack is for. And in my honest opinion, having used hanging bike racks for years and years and years, it kind of depends on what you're hauling. I talked about in the video somehow these hanging racks, because they've been around so long without any really changes to them, they're best set up for bikes that have the standard kind of triangle to them. It could be a more modern gravel bike, it could be a road bike, it could be something from the 2000s, early 2000s. Those are the kind of bikes these racks are kind of designed and made for. Those are what's going to work best on these racks. If you guys watched from our test drive video, I saw it inside the cab because I was looking for it to happen because I kind of figured it was going to happen, is the way that a modern bike shape is, it generally points the front wheel down is kind of the problem. And with the way these racks are kind of set up, with it pointed straight down, it then puts the tire at the front tire at the lowest point on the vehicle. Which means as you go over bumps, as you go down driveways, it's going to catch that front wheel and kind of push it and then pull it back. It's kind of what it's going to do. And that's not the nicest thing to do to your bike wheels. It kind of can cause some issues, especially if it catches something and it doesn't bend and it doesn't kind of just let it roll out. it will wreck things pretty easily. So who is this rack for? So these hanging racks are kind of at a lower price point to enter. So they generally cost a lot less than like a tray style rack. With that being the case of them costing less, it's generally these racks are generally going to be for people who are looking to get into cycling, or just got some bikes, picked up some bikes from your big box store, local big box store, and they want to get out riding with their family. They want to go on a trip with them. They're going camping and need somewhere to put their bikes. That's kind of that is what this rack is kind of designed for. That low entry point into traveling with your bike. It's kind of where these racks are aimed at. Once you get a nicer bike, kind of a more in that bike shop quality bike, you're going to realize your bike doesn't quite fit on this rack like your old ones did. And that's where you're going to want to upgrade into more of a tray style. But honestly, a hanging style bike rack has its place in the world of cycling. It's just going to be more for those beginner cyclists. That's where this is going to be at, who aren't super worried about potentially dinging their frame or scratching their frame on the post, who are willing to put a little bit of effort into kind of combining a bunch of bikes together. However, the bikes are going to have that same kind of frame style together, so it makes it a little bit easier to kind of put everything on this rack. So that's where I would point this guy at. If you're looking for the step up from this rack, that's kind of a tray style, check out the JOYTUTUS, the 2-bike tray style rack that I reviewed. There'll be a link up in the corner. Check that one out. That one's kind of your next step up from this 4-bike hanging rack. It only holds 2, but that is the next step up from there. That rack, I feel like, if you have a little bit nicer bike, you don't want to deal with kind of hanging your bikes from here, and you only need 2 bikes, that's the rack that I personally would go for. I'd spend a little bit more money and go with that one there. So big thanks to JOYTUTUS for sending out this rack so I can test it out. Like I said, it's been a long time since I've tested out a hanging style bike rack, so appreciate them sending it out. If you guys are interested in picking up this rack for yourselves or checking out any of other JOYTUTUS racks, there's going to be a link in the description down below. Check them out, give them some love. If you guys enjoyed the video, or maybe you learned something new today, give this video a big thumbs up. I appreciate the support. Any comments or questions, let me know down in the comment section below. Love talking to you guys, love answering questions you guys have, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching today.